Discover the future of gaming this November. Hear from over 90 speakers across the globe. Check out the newest Web3 games. Over 300 esports athletes, and meet your future developers. The future of gaming is here. Don't get left behind.
Yo, hey guys, GM.
GM guys, good to be here.
Welcome. Shout out to the YGG community on Discord. I know it's been a busy day for the YGG community. We've had a whole day of events. We had our content creator conference, our Metaversity workshop today, as well as our FIBA basketball tournament collaboration just right now. So everyone who made it or is still on the way on your phones, shout outs to you guys. And yeah, we have a very special AMA tonight together with the whole crew. We've got No ACLs and of course FalllenCorpsez and Star Atlas CEO and co-founder, the one and only Michael Wagner, also known as Swagner. Hey man, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. Good morning. Sounds like you guys have had a busy day. I've had a little bit of a busy morning, but did want to say a special thank you to our community at Star Atlas as well. Really incredible community. I know they're tuning in as well, and excited to share some updates with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, do the honors, Michael. Tell us more about, what you do at Star Atlas, and maybe for those who, I doubt you haven't heard about it, but for those who are hearing about Star Atlas for the first time, let us know what is Star Atlas.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I do is mostly just post on Twitter all day, and I've taken the title of Chief Leak Officer, so I try to extract as much information from the team and get that out to the community. But I just help orchestrate and coordinate all of the different activities that we have going on across Star Atlas. For people that aren't as familiar, we have a number of different environments that we build. And so our flagship product is the Unreal Engine 5, hyper-realistic, cinematic quality, open world space exploration game. And so that's where a lot of our energy goes. But we also spend time on two different environments. One of those is a browser-based application that's called Sage, Star Atlas Golden Era, and we have an extension of that that we'll be talking about today that's called Sage Labs. And then in addition to that, we have a mobile application that we announced in July of this year, actually just at the Games Day that Solana hosted in San Diego. And so our mobile application is a bit of a spin on Move to Earn. In our case, you're not actually earning currency for walking, running, or cycling. You're leveling up and progressing a crew member. And so those crew members have applicability in both the browser game and in the Unreal Engine product, in that you can load them into or apply them to your ship and customize or modify the underlying specs or stats. So it's very much, your crew is very much a part of your loadout. Just like your weapons and your armor and your thrusters would be. So we've got a lot going on. I know we're going to hop in here and talk a bit about Unreal Engine first. Some exciting stuff coming there. So maybe let me just pause and turn it back over to you guys.
Yeah, so we actually have, a short clip right here of the new Pierce X6. So check this out, guys. Hell yeah.
I love that
So
video.
clean.
It's a
That's what
big
I'm
shout
talking
out. Yeah, big shout out to we work with a number of co-creation studios on the development of the game, and big shout out to Vert Paint. They're the ones that actually crafted that promotional video for us. And just want to note what you are seeing in that video is an actual in-game asset. So that is the level of detail and fidelity that you're getting in all assets in Star Atlas. Really impressive. And in fact, when we jump into the showroom, we can actually do a walkthrough of that Pierce X6 and compare it to what you saw in the video.
Yeah, I mean, ACL, take it away. Oh, go ahead,
Yeah.
Paul.
Well,
Yeah,
ACLs brings that up. Yeah, like just ridiculous. I thought I was like looking at some like new concept from like Lamborghini or something. The same idea of their promotional videos, right? Showcasing it. Even had the working bathroom in there.
Yep.
So
Yep. I
clean.
mean, everybody needs to use the restroom, even in space. So, right on ACL. Yeah. So you just loaded into the showroom, and this is, I guess I'd make one more point here is that while it's going to take a significant amount of time to build out the full Star Atlas V1 game open world MMO, we're releasing this in modules. And so as we get mechanics online and new gameplay features, we roll those out through patches. And what you're looking at right now is our 2.1 release of the showroom. There's a bunch of things that we can do in here, but so far you've experimented with the jetpack and you've flown down to the lower level of the showroom. And yeah, that terminal that you're flying to right now is where you can access things like the ship pad, and the marketplace, actually, which I'd like to talk about, as well as the teleportation, so you can easily navigate around the showroom. But maybe let's pop into the marketplace really quickly. Something that's very impressive about this is that in the top right, you'll see your current balance. So you've connected your crypto wallet to this. And in fact, we don't have an account creation process. It is you are either connecting an existing wallet or creating a new wallet when you log into the game. And this marketplace is tied directly to our online marketplace at play.staratlas.com, which means when you're trading any of these items, you're either buying them from us or you're trading them with other users, but doing that directly on the Solana blockchain.
Nice.
Now, I don't know if you have any ships on this account. I see you have 0 balances up there, so brand new wallet.
This is a freshly created, just the default to jump in here. I haven't connected anything yet.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So there is at least one ship that you can fly for free right now, and that is, it's the second ship down on the left, the Floyd Line Aerospace 1.
Right.
What we might do though is, I don't want you to load that on this ship pad. We were looking at the marketplace. So again, fully connected, all on chain. I think that's super cool. And you're able to buy and sell from other users. This is a big part of our philosophy is we want to empower the player, empower the user, not only with true asset ownership, but this ability to monetize the time that they're spending in game. So there's quite a few ships here as you look through the list. I think we have something like 51 ships supported today. They're all flyable. Although they are in varying states. So some of these are polished to our gold standard, others are still in white box or gray box without textures, without the skin on it. But we wanted people to at least be able to get into their ship and experience the flight physics while they were playing. So I think we can back out of this for right now, and I'll probably have you load up that Floyd liner on one of the outdoor pads.
So do I do this from here, or we got to go outdoors?
Yeah, you can exit out of this for now, and we'll open up the big gate to the exterior.
Cool.
Yeah, we can just completely close out of this this terminal menu. There's a bunch of these terminals all over the map, so we'll go find another one on one of the outdoor pads.
Yeah, I'm trying to escape here.
You might want to try Alt F4. That's a secret code for going back.
Alt F4 is like reset, but yeah, we'll do that quickly here. All right.
So Mike,
Yeah, so-
While I get that set back up.
Everyone's so excited to ask Mike questions. I love it.
Yep. Pretty much. I think one of the main questions we're getting right now from the community after seeing everything is like, what are the minimum requirements here to play the UA5 game? A bunch of people are like, my computer is going to catch on fire.
It's and to be honest with you, that's largely true right now. We haven't fully optimized the game. It is still pretty performant, but And honestly, guys, I don't know what the minimum specs are right now. We can Dom is probably, or Santi are probably out there in the community, and they can pull those for us. It's pretty high requirements on this, which is part of the rationale for building out this browser-based game as well. This will improve through time, though, where the minimum specs reduce and it's more accessible to people. Important to note here that ACL is running a 4090, and he's got every one of the settings maxed out. So there's certainly a lot of flexibility in customizing your graphics settings so that more people can get in. And as he's pulling that back up, maybe I'll talk a little bit about some of the features that we've added in this 2.1 release. It was a pretty considerable update. Starting with the thing we saw first, which was the jetpacking. We think it's just a super cool way to get around. It adds a really interesting dynamic to the way that you play, and we do have some early testing of third-person shooting right now going on. And so when we add mechanics like slide is one of the most popular ones, but also just being able to jetpack around and shoot at people in third person, we think that's going to be a ton of fun. Yeah, and it also just lets you get around the map quicker, so you can kind of get to your destination and start playing as quickly as possible. We've been categorizing ourselves as a simcade, so this hybrid of a space sim game where it's hyper realistic and an arcade game where you kind of just get in right away and start playing whatever it is that you want to play. So we're adding the realism, but we want you to have a good time and get to your destination quickly.
The Fluid Line Aerospace 1. This is a big ship. Like a lot of these ships, they're massive, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And you should be able to set that. Let's see. There you go. Yep. So let's just do a little walk around of this, and again, you can check out the fidelity of this. Now, this is a ship that we don't sell. This is purely for demonstration purposes, and again, for anybody that's getting in new that just wants to experiment with the game, you don't have to pay anything to download. We're available on Epic Game Store. It is closed access right now, but I think we gave you guys a handful of game keys to distribute out, so your community can get access to the game while it's still in this pre-alpha phase, and at least fly this ship around. And if you find another ship that you like, easy to buy and start playing. Now you can open the front of that ship. You just have to find the little interact.
There you go.
And maybe let's try that again, because I just want people to see that tailgate come down, or rather the front entry come down.
Close it up.
Wow. That's buttery smooth. Wow.
One of the really cool things we're doing.
I love how the animations are as close to, not as close, but actually look like the renders that we have on the teasers.
Yes. It's one of the things I meant to point out with the X6 video is the way that these ships are engineered. It's as though they could be created in real life. Even seeing how the landing gear retracts and recesses into the ship itself pre-flight, it just blows my mind.
Yep, 100%.
The details are amazing. Yeah, we've got an elevator here.
Yeah, and the fact that we have ship interiors really sets us apart from most space games. Like, it's pretty uncommon to be able to have free open world flight plus have the level of detail on the interior of a ship where you feel like you could live in this thing.
Yeah.
Got a sky roof here. Let's go.
The attention to detail is just, incredible.
That's insane.
So I think
Definitely
the next big
sets itself
question.
apart.
Yeah, I think the next
Fallen.
big question for me is when am I going to be able to buddy up with a few other people and occupy a ship together? Is that coming?
It's a great question. So we do have multiplayer support right now. However, it is peer-to-peer multiplayer support. So we don't have the full back-end
Dedicated
infrastructure
servers,
setup. Yeah, the dedicated servers. So it's peer-to-peer. It gets a bit laggy. You can realistically get 6 to 8 people into a server and still have a good time. But one of the other exciting announcements that we made back at the PlayGG event in July is a partnership with a company called Metagravity. And people have probably heard of like Hadean or Improbable. Metagravity is along the same line. So it's all about multiplayer concurrency. And I'm genuinely impressed with what they've been able to accomplish with us so far, but the whole idea is massive user scale in a single instance. So you're not worried about sharding, you're not worried about joining the same server as your friend. We're going to have one global server that every player in Star Atlas has access to. And so far, we've been able to prove out 5,000 concurrent users in a single instance, and going into the end of the year, we're looking at having 30,000 concurrent players in a single instance.
I mean, that's pretty interesting because I mean, there are a lot of games, right, that really, just split up the player base being in different instances, and having, people at scale just makes a whole world of a difference in the player experience, right? Like what I love the most is, just running around the map and I end up like seeing one of my friends who's also online at the same time. I mean, that definitely differentiates like good games from okay games.
Yeah, for sure. It does distinguish us. I mean, most MMOs today still have some form of instancing within the game. When you're going into a dungeon, for example, you might load up that dungeon experience, and then whatever group you joined with, you're collectively playing that dungeon. We don't want any of that instancing, and whether that's atmospheric transition from space onto the planet, kind of like a No Man's Sky.
Yep.
You can fly directly onto the planet or out of the planet. And to your point, everybody having the exact same experience gives the player a lot of agency. And we see these extremely vibrant social centers forming as a result of this. The central space stations, where there could be 100,000 real players running around and transacting and trading with one another, or shopping in the commercial district if they want to. So it's a big challenge, but it's also a big objective for us. And again, really pleased with the results that we've seen from Metagravity thus far. And a little teaser is that while we're targeting the 30,000 by the end of the year, there's a chance we're expecting to have the dedicated server infrastructure set up in time for Breakpoint this year, which is Solana's big conference taking place.
I'll be there. I hope to see you guys and get to test out all these new updates.
Nice, yeah.
It's unbelievable, honestly. Like when it all comes to light, it's going to be quite the experience. Massive.
And so maybe a couple things. If you hit C, you can change your camera perspective.
Nice.
So that's the first person in cockpit. You can hit C again. There's a second person view. And then you've got the third person, which is what you were in when you started. Now, there's a couple of things you can do in this showroom, by the way. There's two different types of time trial races. One in the air, you'll see the gates where you can fly through those gates, and it's just a race against time, but we do have leaderboards tracking that. I think if you hit tab, you would actually see the leaderboards. Yeah, so these are people with top times so far, and all of these are different experiences. The Volant Studio race, the Flight Trainer dogfighting mode, which is out in space against PvE opponents. The Flight Trainer race course, which again is in space. But one of the big features that we rolled out for this, and which builds up to the end of the year, is competitive combat hover racing or ground racing. So there's a ground course that you can compete in time trial for now, but when we roll out that full dedicated server support with multiplayer, you're going to be able to queue up and get into combat races with other players. Now, there's a lot more in this that we could talk about. I know we want to spend some time here on labs, but there's a ton of features and experimental modes you can explore. So check it out, guys.
I mean, no worries, because we actually are kicking off, next week's game spotlight. So it's going to be a whole week of live streams, events, and gameplay with the community. So don't worry, we're going to be posting that schedule right after the AMA, so that you guys could put it on your calendars and join us. And as well, at the end of the week, we're going to be having our wrap up AMA, talking about, what's been happening throughout, and yeah, just a few updates. So guys, I think this has been a question for everyone. So let's say that we aren't able to play the game yet. Like, we don't have the PC, or we don't have access to the game. How can we experience Star Atlas?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of ways, and again, that's where we get into the browser-based implementation, as well as the mobile application. And the big release that we have coming up next Thursday is the launch of something that we're calling Sage Labs. Now, Sage Labs is actually the light version of a light version. Our browser implementation is going to use WebGL 3D assets. That's still ongoing development, and we're looking at another release of that sometime around Breakpoint as well. We'll keep everyone aware of what the release schedule looks like. But let's get into Sage Labs today, which is a 2D menu-based browser game. But the big part of this is, and what we're most excited about, is the economy activation. Mm-hmm. So the gameplay mechanics of Sage Star Atlas Golden Era at the start focus on this resource extraction and crafting gameplay loop. And the exit for that is being able to, let me actually pull it up for you guys. The exit loop for that is to be able to redeem for assets or participate in something that we're calling the Golden Ticket Raffles. Just find this here.
There are so many ongoing campaigns with Star Atlas. So you guys don't stop. It's just go, go, go.
Yeah, we have been incredibly busy. The other version of this, again, is the mobile application. So for people who like to go on walks, runs, or bicycle rides, this is how you can access the economy through the character progression, level a character up, and sell that to another player who doesn't have the time or the interest in going out and participating in physical activity to level up their crew members. And again, the higher the level your character, the more performant your ship will be. You'll get enhanced stats on your ship. So Sage Labs, as I said, this is a light version of a light version. What's cool, these are all on-chain mechanics. So everything from your character profile, character creation, in the future, your XP and progression, movement and coordinate systems, inventory management in your ship, in the Central Space Station and star bases, and crafting tables. These are all on-chain mechanics. So when you go to craft an item, you are signing a transaction on Solana, and there's full visibility and transparency into these gameplay mechanics. Why are we doing it this way? Given that it is exceptionally complex to build out full on-chain logic and orchestrate those programs, we see massive potential in the developer ecosystem surrounding Star Atlas. So being able to build mods, extension to the game, your own storylines, or other Web3 services like lending programs or scholarship models, or given the complexity of the commodity system, you could even build a commodities exchange around the assets that are in Star Atlas. So let me stop talking for a minute. I'm going to jump into a game of Sage Labs. I've set up a brand new wallet here, so I'm going to kind of walk you guys through from start to finish what you have to do to be able to play. I am using a Soulflare wallet right now. You will need a Solana wallet. You'll need a little bit of Solana to start, and you'll need Atlas, a ship, and you'll need some of the 4 resources. Now, I'm using Soulflare. We recommend either Soulflare or Phantom when we go to mainnet. And for what it's worth, I'm also playing on a DevNet version we call AtlasNet. We set up specifically for game testing, but this will be on mainnet on Thursday this upcoming week. We're really excited about it, but I'll just accept the terms of service. I'm going to connect my Soulflare wallet. All right, you guys probably don't see this, but I am, the browser extension has me connecting. This feature right here, I just want to point out really quickly as well, Atlas Prime. So what we've been able to do with Atlas Prime is eliminate the need to pay your transaction fees in Solana. We actually sit as a proxy in the middle, and given your earnings in the game are all denominated in our in-game currency, Atlas, we want you to be able to pay all your transaction fees and live your entire life using Atlas on all applications within our ecosystem. And so you would pay your fee, Solana transaction fee, to us in Atlas. We pay the Sol fee on your behalf. So once you get set up here, you never actually have to own Sol anymore because all of the transactions can be covered in Atlas. So I'm going to I'm going to activate that. I'm going to start creating a character. These are the 3 different factions you can choose from. Mud is the future human species. Oni, a consortium of alien races. Ooster is your sentient android beings. I'm just going to randomly select one, and I'm going to set my name. Again, this is my on-chain name here. I'm going to create that character. I'm signing a transaction right now. You guys probably can't see. And so I don't have any ships. I didn't set myself up with anything yet. So let me take you guys to the marketplace so I can buy a few items and get ready to play. I'm actually going to go back to, yeah.
It's pretty seamless though. It's a fluid process.
And I just want to double check. Are you guys seeing right now? Let me screen share the marketplace. And I just want to point out that this marketplace is also a DevNet marketplace. So these aren't the actual prices, not the real items that people are transacting right now. This is just so we can do our play testing here. All right. And I need to buy some ships. And we have a massive amount of ships, everything from extra small all the way up to Titan. These range in prices. The extra small ships right now, you can the prices have actually been going up, so I don't know exactly, but they were as low as $2. The base price is like $15 on this, so you can buy one ship for $15 and get it in play. But there are some that are trading lower than that on the market right now, so probably $5 you can get yourself set up with a ship. I think there's 51 ships total in game right now. And just interrupt me, guys, if you have any questions as I'm running through this. There's a lot here, I know.
Well, I was actually going to say that you guys have been nice enough to give us some ships to give away throughout the week. So we have, I think, 15 ships today to give away so that people don't necessarily have to go to the market. They can, get one of these ships. We'll send it to your Solana wallet and you can hop right in on the 21st and get going.
Yep.
Awesome.
So guys,
Awesome.
make sure to drop by all our activities throughout the week because you might just be one of the lucky winners of these ships, so you can test out the latest release from Star Atlas.
And the marketplace does support USDC and Atlas for now, with the caveat being that all of the items that you create, craft, and extract from Sage Labs, those will only be tradable in Atlas. We want the in-game economy to function solely on Atlas. Now, any items that were originally sold by us, the initial mint, we do have support for USDC as well as market pairs for USDC. But I'm going to change to Atlas here. I'm going to buy some Pierce X4s. Again, these are not the actual prices. These are just our DevNet assets, but I'll buy maybe 100 of those for now. These extra small ships are quite good for the crafting process itself. All right, so I picked up a few of those. I'm going to pick up a few large freighter ships. So these are quite good at storing large quantities of materials and being able to transport those around the map. And there's a ton of different types of ships. There are your racer ships, transport ships, there's fighters, there's bounty hunters, there's I think I mentioned the freighter ships already, there's mining ships. There's a bunch of different areas that you can specialize in, which is really cool. There's deep layers of complexity, and you decide how deep in that complexity you want to go. But let me just buy a few of these on Atlas as well. Maybe I'll buy 5 of these.
Nice. And this part of the game you'll be able to access on mobile and various platforms at some point, right?
So great question. And it is a potential future path that we're looking at for Sage Labs. Now, as we progress into Sage, which is the 3D version of the browser game, it's likely that we deprecate to some extent this 2D version of the game. However, one possible avenue for us is to integrate this into the companion app where you're leveling up crew members. If you're on, you're on a bus or you're on a train or you're in a flight and you want to continue to play the game, you can do so on a tablet or on mobile. We do see that as a potential avenue.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like it's just like perfectly set up to, be on all outlets. So good stuff.
Okay, so I picked up a couple of commander ships too, because why not? These are the most expensive ships, but also the most performant. And All right, let me go back to Sage Labs now because I have some assets in my wallet. Okay, so the welcome message went away because now it's detecting that I have ships in my wallet. Here's my Atlas balance. I have Atlas Prime enabled. You can disable this at any time if you want to and just pay in Sol. And let's see, I selected Ooster. So this map, it's not a completely interactive map, but what you'll see is the Ooster starting zone, the Mud starting zone, and the Oni starting zone. So this is where you get your ship into the game. You need to take the assets from your wallet and bring them into the game environment. And you'll do that at one of the central space stations for the faction that you've selected. Now I selected Ooster, so I know that I need to go to this X coordinate 40, Y coordinate 30, and believe it's this. We're going to navigate to that sector. And then there's a handful of things that you can do here. So at the star base, I'm now at the central space station. This is where I would deposit or withdraw ships. I can check out my hangar for any ships that are already there. I can do crafting there. I can check out my inventory of resources and components. And otherwise, I can just check out some of the lore and metadata of the space station itself. When I have an undocked fleet, I'll go there and then I can start to explore. Planets gives you an outline of different solar systems within each one of these sectors. Mining operations are asteroid belts. You're actually mining asteroid belts in Sage gameplay. So let me go here. Here's the ships that I just bought. You guys saw all of these. I'm just going to bring all of these into the game. I'm going to deposit to the starbase. Signing another transaction here off to the right. I think you guys probably don't see that screen, but now I can check out my hangar. And I want to form a fleet because my fleet is what's going to allow me to go out and start to mine as well as start to craft. Now there's a limitation here in that you get 145 points maximum per fleet. You don't have a maximum number of fleets in this version of the game, but each ship category from the extra small up to the commander have a point value attributed to them. So the commanders, the biggest ships, these are 49 points apiece. So you can only get 2 commanders into a fleet. The extra smalls are 1 point apiece, so I can get 145 of those. And there's a bunch of information out there. I won't go into extensive detail because our community has been putting together all types of materials on figuring out how to min-max, how to maximize your fleet performance, and all of the stats that go into a fleet. But the first thing I'm going to do is, this is going to be my crafting fleet. So I'm just going to put 100 of those together into a fleet. I can see how much fuel I have, how much ammo. This is the capacity, and then the fleet cargo, as well as the maximum warp distance. So when you are looking at destinations on the map, you can't just go from point A to the farthest point on the map. You can only travel based on the tier of your ship, or rather the combined value of all of the ships within a fleet. This is very important because throughout the game, you're actually burning food, fuel, and ammunition. And these are resources that are consumable that we've had since December of 2021 when we rolled out our faction fleet module, where you could participate in resource management and earn Atlas. Okay, so I'm going to form this fleet, approve that transaction. Okay, and now I get to see all of the details. Well, you know, I have nothing in the cargo right now, so let me refuel. Oh, sorry. See, I need to get my resources into the starbase as well. So let me go into inventory, and these are some of the resources that I had already purchased. I'm just going to transfer all of these. You don't really need toolkits right now. That will come in the future when we activate combat. You'll need to repair your ship through time as well.
Nice. There's so many layers to this. Like, you really gotta plan out your strategy here.
Exactly. Yeah, and these right here, so these are all the base resources that you can extract from asteroid belts, as well as some of the crafted components, like an electromagnet is something that you would craft after you extract some of the base resources like copper or biomasses for food. and golden tickets. I do want to spend some time on those, but I'll come back to it. Anyway, there's a number of different resources you can extract and craft. And since I just saw it here, I'll also point out that there is an opportunity for the smallest of player to the largest of player. We've incorporated this thing called a survey data unit, which we anticipate most of the smaller fleets participating in. You're flying around the map and you are scanning sectors, and periodically you will discover these survey data units. Now, it doesn't make sense for somebody with a large fleet to necessarily scan for these because they are more performant in extraction and collecting resources. The smaller players will go after these survey data units, all of the main crafting recipes to redeem for loot at the end, which are ships. You can get Atlas, you can get claim stakes, you can get CSS land plots. There's a big loot table that we'll be sharing soon with a ton of different asset types in it. They all require these survey data units. So if I'm a player and I'm focused on farming biomass so that I can produce food to sell to other players, I'm not out collecting these survey data units. I have to buy those from some other player who's going out and discovering them. So I'm going to import these resources now. Okay, it was all combined into a single transaction. You can see now I have the resources in the starbase. Now I can go to my hangar, I can go to this fleet that I just set up, and now I can add fuel to it. Okay, so now I'm full tank there. I'm going to approve. I've got my ammo set up. I could actually add stuff to my cargo as well. You want to think about how you're going to optimize your cargo, because when you're mining, you need cargo space to store stuff. But you also don't want to run out of fuel when you're in the middle of a space, because then you have to self-destruct and respawn your ship. So let me transfer cargo. Not yet.
And just to confirm what you said there, when you self-destruct, you're not destroying, like actually destroying the asset. You're just resetting it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Again, another great question. So all you're doing is resetting yourself back to the central space station. However, there are penalties for this. So any inventory that you have in cargo is destroyed. It is dropped in open space and just burned. So you lose all of your cargo. If you were mining for a couple of hours and you run out of fuel in space, you lose that. There's also a respawn fee. There's 2 fees in the game, one for crafting and one for respawning. Those fees, those payments, go directly to the Star Atlas DAO. So if you're a Polis governance token holder and you're participating in Polis voting power, these fees all go to the DAO treasury, which then the PvP holders, the Polis voting power holders, get to determine what to do and how to with that treasury and how to spend that money at some point in the future. So again, not without penalty, respawn fee, lose all your loot that you've been working hard to collect.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I can see, what's in this fleet. This is my fleet composition, and then these are the different fleet stats. There's 2 types of movement. Warp is faster, but it costs more fuel. Subwarp is slower, but it costs less. So how quickly you want to move throughout the map, pick your poison on that one. Anyway, a lot of stats here. I won't run through all of these. I'll let you guys kind of get into that as you start to play. The only other thing I'd point out is that there's 100 crew, and crafting is based on, it's all a time formula based on how many crew members you have at a starbase allocated to the crafting process. And every ship has a different number of crew members on board. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to add anything to cargo for the demo here. I'm just going to undock this fleet, again, signing a transaction there. And now I've got my undocked fleet here. So I want to manage this fleet. We've got a little mini map you can look at. You can kind of move that around. So this is where I am at the central space station. All of these, where all of these other star systems exist, they're notated on the map. There are different things you can do there. There's a star base, there's an asteroid belt where you can mine. You can move materials from this central space station to this starbase, and this is how you start to set up your logistics chains. So if you're a small fleet and you want to get out to here, well, you'd run out of fuel before you get to there. So you have to start to set up a supply chain from here to there by depositing these resources. I'm going to use subwarp, and I should be able to get to that sector. And it tells you how much fuel I'm burning, which actually looks like far more fuel than I have right now. Let's see if this this works.
The way that all the lore elements just, you know, like pull you in here, it really feels like we're gearing up to explore space and, you know, start setting up shop. It just pulls you right in. Like, I feel like you're just speaking to me. You're just like, you know, hypnotizing me with your words right now.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. You know, like, it's really interesting to see that even though that you might not be able to run the UE5 game, you basically get the same experience. You know, you see how the team really, you know, what vision they have to build, and what vision they have for the game in UE5 is, right? And like, we're technically getting an early glimpse of, you know, like, the bigger picture that's going to be released like later on, and as well as, you know, especially for the community who really wants, you know, a piece of what the game will be. Like, they can get that as early as now, and, you know, not only through their phones, but, you know, it's as easy as being able to access it, you know, anywhere, anytime. And I assume that, like, all these assets are tied in with the UE5 game as well, right?
Yeah, all of the same, all of our game environments, mobile, the browser game, UE5, all reference the same on-chain assets. This is another key point I like to emphasize, is that we don't think of the Star Atlas products or environments as separate games.
Yes.
Because we're building all of the logic on the blockchain, you really have a unified Star Atlas game, just different ways to access that. So the materials and components that you're crafting in Sage Labs, those are going to be applicable in ship configuration in the next version of Showroom. So when you want to customize a ship with an upgraded hull or upgraded engine, people will be crafting those and selling them to other players. And through this economic synergy is how we interconnect all of the games.
Yeah, it sounds great. I like how there's different layers for different types of players, depending on what you have access to as well. They're still able to participate, and it's in a meaningful way, right? It all drives different aspects of the overall ecosystem. So,
like, there's only a handful of games, right, that are actually focusing on, like, these long-term IPs, like Star Atlas, you know, with the AAA announcement that was made, like, you know, a couple of years back. But then you guys shifted into building out these other games that are interoperable with the main AAA game, right? Was this always planned, or has this been, you know, like, some sort of strategy that came about as, you know, you discover that there are more people who actually want to play the game but might be able to play it?
We always intended to launch a browser version of the game for two reasons. One was that accessibility component that you're referring to. We know not everybody has high-end gaming PC to play the fully immersive world. So how do we widen the audience or possible experience to a wider audience? And so the browser game does that. The other motivation was to be able to deliver a complete product faster than it's going to take to build out this full AAA world. Now, you know, through time, it's there's been a lot of challenges, and again, specifically focusing on all of this on-chain development. Well, we're pioneering bleeding-edge technology. There's no playbook for what we're doing, and so it's taken a lot of experimentation, trial and error to get to where we are today. But I am super thrilled about what we've landed on with this first browser implementation, and again, that activation of the economy. So I'm going to take this ship. I'm going to go to another sector here. I don't have enough fuel. I didn't load myself up with enough resources to fully play here. Just setting up a new demo account for you guys. Let's just, we're just going to warp over there.
So there is definitely a lot of strategy and planning to this. It's not going to be the easiest stuff. People are probably going to make some mistakes, and that kind of leads us into what's going to be happening tomorrow. Is I'm going to be hopping on with Rome, the Rome Guild there, and kind of talking a little bit about strategy, the affiliate program that you guys are going to be spinning up, and, you know, how we can all help each other. Because like if I did hear correctly, you guys can trade resources between players, right? Depending on you know, somebody might need this item, somebody has this, you can kind of swap between it.
100%. Absolutely. And you saw how many resources there are across the game. Now, each one of the star systems, so these sectors, they'll have a unique resource. So you have to explore almost all of the map in order to collect all of the different resources. Now the MRZ, this is medium risk zone, where it's UST or ONI or MUD. Those are technically your safe zones. Now we don't have combat yet, but when we roll out combat, if you're in the medium risk zone, other players are going to be able to destroy you in space as well, which means you would lose all your loot. And when we turn on combat, if they destroy your ship, that loot doesn't get burned. They actually take that from your cargo. Now, I did want to point out quickly, these little blue icons, they indicate where your fleet is at. Now, you see what's going on in the fleet overview. So I have one fleet, my mining fleet that's still, or my crafting fleet that's still en route. I have my silkworm fleet, which you can change the names on these. It's already arrived at its destination. And I know we're tight on time here, guys, so maybe I'm sure we're going to play some more. Maybe I'll stop there for now and save some time for questions, unless...
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, don't worry, guys. Like, we have a whole week for our game spotlight on Star Atlas, and everyone who's listening and watching right now, if you're on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, make sure to hop over at the YGG Discord. That's discord.gg/YGG, because that's where all the magic's going to happen. So we're actually giving out a couple of ships after the AMA. So everyone who's here, make sure to, don't leave right away, because we have Fallen, if I'm not mistaken, we have 15 ships that we're going to be giving out, right?
Yeah, so we have 15 ships for this stream, and then we have ships throughout the week. Thank you, Michael, obviously, for your team sending those over. That will be a great jumpstart for some people that don't have ships. We'll be giving those out, right? Today we got 15, and then I'm not going to tell everybody what the rest number will be. You'll just have to tune into the different streams and find out.
Yeah, shout out to Santi and Miguel, who's been helping us out, get the show on the road. But before we jump to the community questions, we have another trailer from Star Atlas here. It's the R2.1 showroom trailer, so check this out.
Now arriving, Star Atlas Vessel Showroom.
Beautiful. So I
Amazing,
mean,
yeah.
I might have missed it, Michael. So does it also work the other way around, where there are resources in the UE5 game that are needed in the web browser game?
So right now, the UE game is largely going to be the consumer of resources that are produced
Okay.
in the browser game. So people that are only playing the browser are producing components, selling those to players. Now, of course, if you play the UE game, you can also play the browser game and produce your
Yeah.
own resources. But let's just say you really just want to play that gameplay loop, that hover
Yeah.
ground racing, which is kind of like a pod racing or maybe a Mario Kart. You could see those boosts and things that you could pick up along the way,
Yeah.
and you're going to be able to shoot other players, destroy their ship, disable them, and then try to win these races. And we're looking at having 100 player competitive ground racing,
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
which is going to be
This
wild.
is
And
insane.
through some of the longer races, you'll need to make pit stops and refuel yourself
Mhm.
and repair your ship and keep racing. So I'm a big fan of F1. That's
It's like a
particularly
Star
attractive.
Wars marathon race.
That's right. That's right.
Nice.
And so
Dunes.
the monetary loop for people that are in Unreal Engine, the idea is that there are going to be competition reward pools. And so if
Yeah.
if you're winning, if you're performing well, you're winning these races, you're getting paid out in Atlas. You use that Atlas then to buy your consumable resources again. Through time, though, these are all going to be complementary to one another, and even to the extent where because we have the on-chain logic, these environments synchronize. So if I place a claim stake down to mine resources in Sage, we'll actually see that replicated in the Unreal Engine world. So again, it feels like you're living in a single experience or a single gameplay product. It's just the way that you access the environment is the only difference.
I think you might get this a lot, Michael, but are there any plans for like racing controllers or pedals or even VR like integrations for Star Atlas in the future? Is this something that you guys are looking at?
Oh, 100%. We've done some early experimentation of VR, by the way. We have a few videos out there. I'm not trying to overpromise on that because it is highly experimental, but we've released some videos on VR. I might be getting this wrong, but Skull and Bones is one of the guilds. I think they've produced a configuration for HOTAS. So a lot of people are looking at using HOTAS as a controller in place of a controller. We have our eyes set on console, so we want to make sure we can support either Xbox or PlayStation or maybe both, but definitely in the future for us, yeah.
I mean, while we're at it, right? Like, what's your stance on the community, making use of their own tools and even IPs and merch? What's your guys' stance on that?
Fully support it. The whole idea here is an open ecosystem, a permissionless economy, and a composable economy. Again, the idea that you can build out your own DeFi services, your own applications, that ties into our ecosystem. We all three parties there, stakeholders, win. We win because it's content or features that we don't have to build. The players win because they get access to new features and new content on a faster timeline, and the developers can find some way to monetize their service, whether that's charging a small transaction fee or some other subscription service that they decide is appropriate. So very open to that, and I'm glad you mentioned the IP because earlier this year we did roll out our Star Atlas build program. There's a number of assets and resources in there from graphics, icons, logos. We're including some of our WebGL ships, but the whole idea behind the build program is that anybody can form a company using the Star Atlas brand and IP and start to generate revenue. They can monetize that business. They can generate up to $1 million in revenue and not pay a single fee to us. Beyond that, depending on the category that they're operating in, the industry that they work in, there's a rev share component on gross revenue, but it's anywhere from 3% to 10%. So it's pretty favorable for these creators. We've had over 50 companies apply to the build program. We probably have 10 out in the wild right now. Gallia Art Station is one of those. This is put together by Afia, and they're producing 3D models of ships. Gallia Merchants is another one. They are producing merch, apparel, computer peripherals. Star Artisan Shop is another one I'll give a shout out to, and they're producing like jewelry and placards and other types of trinkets. I do want to mention Enigma 42. That's another individual. He's producing these 3D printed ships. So the world is your oyster. You can even build a game that uses Star Atlas economy, Star Atlas ships, just with your own gameplay mechanics, and monetize that yourself. So like everything is open and available to people. We want people to build on Star Atlas.
Super cool.
I was
mean-
curious.
Go ahead,
quick
Mason.
question from me. You mentioned a little bit about VR possibilities earlier. I was also curious, like, just explaining how open it is to community. Maybe it's already in development. If there are any AR tech tie-in experiences for Star Atlas, like you mentioned, the 3D models of the ships, being able to place them in AR and the open world, and have another experience where you can either take pictures, create content, whatever it may be, right? I'm sure you can gamify AR in many ways across the layers of Star Atlas. Just want to know what your outlook on that is for the ecosystem.
Nobody's done it yet, and we haven't put time into it just yet. So it's an open opportunity. I do have a vision for where the mobile app moves in the AR space, and that's through these real world activations of like space invasions. Right, so you have your mobile device, you're running around, and imagine going to a dedicated location where an invasion is happening, and you can help defend that location by being present there. And it's, you're viewing this invasion through your mobile device, but you earn XP, you level up your character. Maybe there's some other economic tie-in to all of that, but
Right.
really excited.
And some
about
of
that
your
one.
assets may be viewable in that experience. And like we all know, like Pokemon Go has done that pretty much the best so
Exactly.
far, right? So if we can create even more immersive experiences with that type of model, it'd be amazing.
It's not to sound dystopian, but we want you to be able to live every day of your life engaging in Star Atlas in some way, whether it's on the computer or while you're running around, using glasses, or
I need these AR.
yeah, or just playing Sage Labs on your mobile while you're in transit somewhere. So
Yes,
a lot of
very, very cool.
100%.
I think we're getting close to that top of the hour. Actually, we are top of the hour. But just before we hop off here, I wanted to just touch on your affiliate program and then maybe talk just about the golden ticket as well. Before we wrap up, Michael.
I've been hyping up golden tickets now for a couple of weeks. To me, it's one of the most exciting components of Sage Labs. I'll start with the affiliate program though, and finish with golden tickets. So we launched a referral system back in 2022. Had some inadequacies to it, didn't really perform well. We've restructured the whole thing. We call this Star Path. Now we're working with a group called BuddyLink, who also builds on Solana, and we have a fully on-chain Web3 referral and affiliate system. And so you'll be able to create your Web3 link or your Star Path link, and using content creation or referring your friends, you can generate income off of their purchases. So if they go to our marketplace and buy a ship, they can buy it from either primary or the secondary peer-to-peer market, and you get 25% of the revenue that flows to Automata, our studio. Now on primary, that's 25% of the top line value. If somebody buys a commander ship, for example, for $100,000, you get $25,000, which is massive, right? If they're purchasing from secondary, there is a royalty fee, and in our case, it goes as high as 4% to Automata. So you would get 25% of that 4%. There's not a lot of inventory left on secondary markets, though, I would say. So I think we're going to see primary markets take off here. And then the benefit to your referee is that they get 10% discount on any primary market purchase. So we've tried to make this extremely attractive, extremely favorable. You get 25% of their purchases for the first year, and then you get 5% in perpetuity. So it's kind of a lifetime value that you get to capture off of any of your referrals. Okay, so that's coming out soon. We actually have an announcement that we're releasing very soon that explains all of the details, how to participate, how to create your account, etc. Finishing with golden tickets. This is probably the largest resource sink throughout the game. It's the most challenging item to craft. It requires all of the resources, components, and SDUs to be able to craft it. But this golden ticket raffle will kick off a couple weeks after we launch labs. We want people to have time to start to craft their golden tickets. And through another third-party site, you'll on a weekly basis, you'll be able to contribute your golden tickets to the raffle. Now, each week we have $150,000 worth of loot that we're distributing through the golden ticket raffle. It runs over 8 weeks, at least right now. We might extend it, but it's $1.2 million in assets in total that we're going to be giving away over 8 weeks. And I think people are going to, there's some game theory, not only to crafting the golden tickets, but also determining when you want to submit your tickets. So just because you craft them in a week doesn't mean you have to submit them. You can choose which week you want to participate in, and maybe week 2 has the loot that you're most interested in, so you contribute your tickets that week. You can also trade these golden tickets. So if you don't want to use them yourself to try to win the loot, you can sell those golden tickets to other players. I did forget one thing on the referral system. For every $500 in value that your referees transact on the marketplace, primary or secondary, you get a golden ticket.
Wow.
So it's another way to get access to golden tickets, another way to get access to these raffles that are ongoing. Again, that'll start about 4 weeks or so after the launch of Labs.
Interesting.
I think that's everything, but we've tried to tie it all together, make the loot extremely attractive. Should be good earnings for people who are playing the game, and I'm stoked. This is probably the most excited I've been maybe in the history of the company.
For sure. I mean, so guys, you heard it first from Michael. Yeah, before we go, Fallen, ATLs, do you have anything else that you guys want to ask Michael for the community?
Honestly, it's a pleasure, having a chat with you today. Thanks for coming and, sharing all this good, juicy info with the community. And I'm looking forward to seeing this massive experience, man. It really sounds unbelievable. I've been following the steps. We've tested it over the course of your development here, and it looks good so far. So bright future ahead.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, very stoked to get into the web-based one. Like I said, my PC cannot handle the UA5 stuff, so the web-based browser one is going to be exciting. I think we already have some people that are ready to grind, and we're going to be going for those golden tickets. Be on the lookout, team, for these gap quests. We are hoping to put together some gap quests. There might be one gap quest for achieving a golden ticket mint, so be on the lookout for that. We are going to be going hard in Star Atlas, and we're going to be working well together with a few other guilds to kind of make YGG and dominate the star system. YGG will rule.
We're coming.
100%. Yeah. So guys, for those who were able to make it tonight, the AMA is automatically uploaded across the board on all YGG socials. So Michael, thank you so much for making time. And yeah, we have a whole week of activities with Star Atlas, and we're going to be seeing you for another AMA at the end of the week. That's going to be on Saturday, same time, 11 p.m. SGT. Everyone at home, don't forget the YGG Web3 Game Summit is happening in November 18 to 25th in Manila. So it's going to be over 100 speakers globally and over 300 esports athletes, as well as an expo and tournament for everyone to participate in. So guys, see you soon, and cheers. See you guys in the metaverse. Peace out.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Thanks,
GG. Together we play.